Bresson? The fuck? Gonna be a little chaotic. I'm gonna be all over the place. Oh, it's like crack, I assume. I don't know. I've never done crack. What am I trying to say? This is chaotic. We are gonna do my April reading wrap up today. I know I've been saying I would do this video earlier this week, and I've been saying all week I would get to it, and I've just been procrastinating like nobody's business. Procrastination is one of my biggest pet peeves that I do. That, like, I hate that I procrastinate, but I also am working on not procrastinating, so it is what it is. If you're new here, hi, welcome. If you're not new here, enjoy the shit show, enjoy the chaos. You probably expected this. It's gonna be a little chaotic. I'm gonna be all over the place, but that's just because my mental health this week has been on the not so great side, and that's just because Mother's Day is tomorrow, and my mom passed in October, so this is my first Mother's Day without her, and I'm not gonna cry. I'm processing, I'm dealing. I am not suppressing emotions, I'm embracing them. It's a work in progress though. So we're going to take my mind off of it by doing my reading wrap up. We're going to talk books because I love books. Books make me happy. Books take my mind off things. Books help me cope in real life situations. So we are going to do my April reading wrap up. Now, I do have to say, I read quite a bit in April. I got out of training for my job, and my job actually allows me to sit there and listen to audiobooks or music or silence, whatever floats your boat. I like to read or listen to audiobooks while I'm working. So, and before you ask, no, I'm not going to say where I work. I work for an insurance company, and that's all I'm going to say. I work in the data entry side. Literally just sit there and process cases and process changes while I'm listening to audiobooks or music. So that's all I'm going to say. Please don't ask. I just don't put where I work online. But we got out of training at the very, very, very beginning of April. I was in training from technically the end of June / beginning of July of 2024. And we just graduated training April 9th. So it was a very long training process, very intensive, very, very intricate, very detailed, but it set me up for success in my job, and I absolutely love my job. So with that being said, I did read 30 something books. I think it was 32 books in April, which is crazy because there's only 30 days in April, but some books I did read multiple books a day. There were times I read or almost read 2 whole books in a day, especially with audiobooks, because I listen at I think the lowest speed I can listen on is 2, and the highest speed is 3 or 3.15, depending on the narrator. That will really determine everything for me, honestly, especially with audiobooks. So if it's a book I've read before or I know the narrators, I can listen a little faster than if it's a brand new series, or if the narrators have an accent, that I listen a little slower so I can make sure I catch all the words. So it is what it is. My reading speed does vary based on quite a number of factors. Also, it will vary on if I'm in office or in at home, because I focus a little bit more when I'm at home, just because I don't have people around me to distract me. It's literally just me and my computer and my audiobook all day, go, go, go. So April was a crazy month. I read quite a bit. We are going to go through all the books. I did not grab them before I sat down, so I'm gonna have to go grab those. I will be right back. Maybe I'm gonna grab a Celsius. I don't know. Yes, it's 3:30 in the afternoon, but I'm kind of feeling like I need a Celsius. So maybe. I don't know. We'll see. This is the stack of books. I can't even lift it all, but oh no, don't fall. This is everything I read in April. Let me sort this out, and then we will get into my April reading wrap up. Graphic from April. I have a soda. I did not get a Celsius, but I did get a Pepsi. Also, it kind of matches my shirt. I know this is darker, but it is what it is. Oh, it's like crack, I assume. I don't know. I've never done crack, but I'm addicted to caffeine. So is it the same? I don't know. I'll never know. Oh, when that first sip of soda hits your soul in the day, it's just great. And then I do also have my Yeti. I refilled it with water. I don't know why I had to taste that to know what it was. It's been a week, y'all. Okay, so let's start. Now, these are not going to be in order of how I read them, because that's a lot of back and forth. There are a couple series in here. We're gonna keep it chaotic, but not that chaotic, okay? So starting with the very first series I read, technically it was a reread. Now, y'all know me, my girl St. James. I love her. Anything that woman writes or has her hands in or touches with her magical like writing skills, I will absolutely eat up and read and devour. So we started the month off by rereading the Valenshek series, Valenshek Legacy series. It is a trilogy. It is not a why choose. It is just a single couple, one girl, one boy. You read heist, and these are the Mystic special editions because they were the easiest ones to get off of. Yes, they're right here on the edge of this shelf. This is the empty spot that you see. That's where these go. But these have candles on them and in front of them, and I didn't want to move the candles, so we got the special editions. So I have Heist, which is book 1. Then we have, oh, that is not in order. Forgery is book 2, and then Restoration is book 3. And I love like the detail on these. Like they all have like an eye on them. Where's the eye on that one? And then here's the first one. Maybe? Wait, does that one not have an eye? Oh no, it does. It's up here. It's like the whole thing is the eye. I also love that these have like her signature in foiling on the back. And they have pretty sprayed edges. So I reread the Valenshek Legacy because in March I reread all of the Shadow Grove World. So I had to finish out the Shadow Grove World by finishing Valenshek Legacy. And then after that I did, maybe we will go somewhat in chaos order of how I read them. I did read books 1 and 2 of the Darkverse series. Now this, I liked it, okay? I didn't dislike it. Let me just put that out there. This has been a series that Shannon has been hounding me to read for a couple years now. So the first 2 books are Tristan and what is her name? Marina? Yeah, Marina, however you say it. They are not my favorite couple I've ever read about. I think I gave it like 3 or 3.5 stars or 3.5 and 3.75. Why am I guessing? It's literally right in front of my face. Yeah, 3.5 for the Predator and 3.75 for the Reaper. Now, I did enjoy it, but it was not my favorite. I personally do not get the hype around Tristan Kane. Do with that information what you will. I do recommend the Darkverse series. I have not read the last one, but you'll see in this month wrap up that I did read the others. Keeping in order of how I read things, I did finally start. Wait, that's not in order. I'm crazy. I can't read my phone apparently. I did not start anything. I did start something actually. But I reread something. I started the reread for the Hunger Games because I said I was going to finish Ballad of Songbird and Snakes so I could read Sunrise on the Reaping. That did not happen, but I did read the original core trilogy. Okay, so we have the Hunger Games, we have Catching Fire, and we have Mockingjay. Now I believe, let me double check. Yes, these are rereads, and I gave them all 5 stars because yes, I know they're not absolutely perfect, but this is one of my all-time favorite series, and it's like a nostalgia thing for me. And it was one of my mom's favorite like movies. As they came out, we watched all of them together, kind of like Twilight. I also made her read the series so we could talk about the books before the movies even came out. So this is another one that I hold near and dear to my heart, partly because of my mother, partly because I just love the series as a whole. I'm very, very, very excited to get more into, not really so much the Songbird of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, because I don't like President Snow, and I've heard some shit, but I also really, really want to read Sunrise on the Reaping, and everybody that I asked on Book Talk told me that I needed to read Ballad of Songbird of Snakes so that I could understand and fully get and grasp everything that happens in Sunrise on the Reaping. So I guess that's what I'm doing. I'm like 12 chapters into the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I need to finish it, but when that happens, I don't know. But I did reread The Hunger Games. So we have that series. Then, oh, I love this series. Okay, so I read my very first co-written book by Tate James and somebody else. Like I've have other books on my shelves. I just had not read them yet. She co-wrote the Boys of Belrose series with Jamie and Eve. So this is Tate James and Jamie and Eve. It's the Boys of Belrose. It is a why choose. They are rock stars. A little bit of a dark romance. There's some dark elements there. There's 4 books in total. I loved this series. Like, it doesn't beat Hades. Okay, Hades is still my favorite Tate James series. However, depending on the day, it could be my second favorite Tate James series. Like, it was that good, y'all. Like, before I read this, it was Hades and then Kit Davenport. And now that I've read this, it's either Hades, Boys of Belrose, and then Kit Davenport, or Kit Davenport and Boys of Belrose. It just really will depend on my day. But today, this is my second favorite. I devoured this series. I started it on like a Tuesday and I finished it on a Thursday. I did read this while I was in office. I literally sat there and I ignored a lot of people People that walked by, they knocked on my desk, they had to tap me on the shoulder to get my attention. I was enthralled in this, okay? I literally have a few videos of like my updates as I was reading the series from work. Like, there's a video of me whispering, talking about the ending of book 2 or 3, and I was just like, what the fuck was that? I was like, I can't talk too loud and I can't react properly because I'm at work. But it's so good, y'all. I need more people to talk about this with, because none of my friends have read this, okay? I'm sure I have friends on Book Talk that have read this, but none of my like close circle of friends have read this, okay? So we start with Poison Roses. I obviously gave this entire series 5 stars, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Let me not be a liar. Yeah, I gave it all 5 stars. I fucking loved it. I devoured it. It was one of my favorite reads. I already know this is going to be a top read of the year. Like, this is definitely top 10 reads of the year. We're not even halfway through the year. Gonna be one of my favorites. So we have Poison Roses, which is book 1. I don't know why I was holding it up here. Y'all can't see that. Poison Roses is book 1. Dirty Truths is book 2. What is it? Shattered Dreams is book 3. And then we have Beautiful Thorns for book 4. I feel like I could talk about the series forever. However, I also don't want to spoil things. I will say Grayson is my favorite. He gives me like a mix of like, I'm trying to think of who I can compare him to. I told one of my friends that he gives me Daddy Cass vibes, which if you've read Hades, you understand that reference. And it's true. He does give Daddy Cass vibes, okay? It is what it is. After I read that, I was almost in a reading slump. And I was like, well, what the fuck do I read now? Because nothing is going to compare to that. That is like one of the best series I've ever read in my entire life. I love it. Then, ooh, I'm dying. Ooh, excuse me. I like inhaled saliva wrong. Oh my God. Anyways, back on track. I then decided, you know what? I'm going to read a book that I kind of sort of started. At the very beginning of the month when it came out, I did somewhat start Sweet Obsession by Katie Robert. My nose itches underneath my nose ring and it's like really weird. I did start Sweet Obsession by Katie Robert. Don't mind me. I'm trying to scratch my nose. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Brief intermission. We're going to take that out. And I'm just gonna, it's because I washed my face this morning. I don't usually wash my face. I need to get better about skincare and all that, but it is what it is, okay? I swear, I'm scratching the outside of my nose, y'all. Allergies have been a bitch, okay? Allergies are a bitch. I said what I said. Now let me put this back in. It's crazy, like, I've had this nose piercing since I want to say 2017, and I don't even have to look in a mirror now. Like, I can just stick a nose ring in. Anyways, sorry. Way off track. I don't know if I'll leave that in or not. But we have Sweet Obsession by Katie Robert. This is book 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 in the Dark Olympus series. I have been reading them as they come out. And I will say, I think I liked this one a little bit more than the last one or so. Ooh. Excuse me. My favorite, though, is still Wicked Beauty. There's just something about that threesome. Love it. But I did really enjoy this. This is an MM romance. It is between Poseidon and Icarus, right? Is Icarus his name? Yeah, Icarus and Poseidon. I'm now sort of getting into MM romances. Like, I didn't read a whole lot of them before. I've read some here and there. This one, loved it. I gave it 5 stars, right? No! I thought it was a 5-star read. I gave it 4.5 apparently. Maybe I was being a little judgy when I read it. I don't know, but I thought I liked it. Looking back, I loved it. Maybe I need to go fix that. Anyways, after that, I then went back into Dark Verse. I read book 3. This was my favorite until I read the other ones, okay? So this was the one I was looking forward to. This is Dante's story. I liked Dante in books 1 and 2. Now, mind you, again, I gave books 1 3.5 and book 2 3.75 stars. This one I gave 4.5. I really liked it. I liked Dante. I loved Amara. Okay, this whole series. Okay, so far the series has been like hit and miss for me. Like, I didn't care for the first 2, and then I loved this one, so I kept reading. Oh wait, what is that? Oh, there's like little like I didn't physically read it, y'all. I read it on my Kindle. I read along on my Kindle. And, oh, that's so cool. I read along on my Kindle, and I did not annotate. I should have annotated. That's so cool. Huh. Did not know that was in there. I'm amused by that now, or I'm amazed by that. But yeah, I read this one. I gave it 4.5 stars. I loved Dante. There was just something about him. I will say, though, slight spoiler, kind of sort of, when he pretended to be dead, which we did know that if you read book 1 and 2, and she just kind of disappears. I was like, yeah, you go, girl, run the fuck away. So I had some choice words for him for pretending to be dead, but I get why he did it. Okay, I understand. I just do not approve. Then I read Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood. Why did my brain just go spaced out? I gave it 3.5 stars. I think it's like a novella. I think it's technically considered a novella. It was on Hoopla. I listened to it for free. I don't physically own that one yet. I did start my Ali Hazelwood journey, I believe, in March, and I'm trying to read all of her books and like play catch up now. So I did read Two Can Play. I really liked it. It wasn't like one of my favorite books ever. However, that's gonna be the case with every single novella ever. With novellas, I just feel like there's not enough, and I always want more. So they don't get rated very highly for me. So a 3.5 for a novella, I feel like is a pretty good rating. For me, that's a high rating for a novella. Usually I give them like 2 and 3 stars because I need more. And I know this about myself before I go into them, and it's a me problem. It has nothing to do with the novella itself. It's completely a me problem. And yet I keep reading them. So anyways, we're gonna move on. I did like Two Can Play though. It was my third Ali Hazelwood book. I would recommend. Now we have, this is gonna sound really bad when I say it. Ooh, excuse me. And I don't mean this in like a bad way, but like the series just wasn't my favorite. Obviously, I DNF'd the second book in the series if you watched my March reading wrap up. But I did read books 3 and 4 in The Bad Boys After Dark by Melissa Foster. So we have Bad Boys After Dark, Brett and Carson. Off the top of my head, I cannot tell you which one comes first. It says I read Carson first. So I guess Carson is 3 and Brett is 4. Brett was my favorite. Had a feeling that would happen. I gave Carson 2.5 stars. Why do I keep holding it up here? Y'all can't fucking see that. 2.5 star, 4.25, and 4.5. So that seems to be, I don't know what was with the quarter ratings this month for me. It was just, it happened. So I liked these. However, I DNF'd book 2 and I did not love book 1. So this will be a series I potentially unhaul someday. It is going in the unhaul pile. And that is what it, oh, speaking of unhaul, I completely forgot. Give me 1 second. Anyways, yeah, the fuck? Brett and Carson were my 2 favorite men of the series. I just, that whole series, I read it, or I bought it a while ago, and I think if I had read it when I bought it, I would have loved it. But my reading tastes have changed slightly, so I was trying to read it because it is on my physical TBR, and Hoopla had the audiobooks. So I was like, it's free, it doesn't hurt me, it comes off the TBR. I can know if I like it or not, I can free up space, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna free up space. It is gonna get unhauled eventually. Now, I don't know when I tried to read the books that I'm unhauling, but we do have the rest of, and I know technically it's not the rest of because there is a 6th book, but the audiobook's not available yet, and I can't read a book while I work, so I didn't get there. But book 5 of the Darkverse series, which is the finisher, and book 4 of the Darkverse series, which is the finisher, and book 5, which is the Annihilator. These were my 2 favorites of the series so far. I gave book 4 4.5 stars, and I gave book 5 4.25 stars. So what? Did I say these 2 were my favorite? That's a lie. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to lie to you. I don't want to be a liar. These were my 2 favorites so far. I have not read the Syndicator yet because the audiobook's not out. But when it is, I will get there. Whose story was this? Oh, this is Alpha's story. I really liked Alpha. Okay, obviously it's one of my favorites. I was surprised by this. I think it's Zephyr. I can't say her name, but I liked her too. She was a doll. I loved her. And then for the Annihilator, no, let me not say that because I don't want to spoil anything. Yeah. Read the Darkverse series by Brunix. I recommend it. That's all I'm gonna say. After I finished the Darkverse series, I did read, I really, like, from the middle of March, I was reading this book. It's Voices by Joey Parker. I got the ARC copy of it, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. This is, again, an MM hockey romance. If one thing to note about me, from the MM books I have read, I loved them. So if it is MM and hockey, sign me the fuck up. Sign me the fuck up. Also, he's like, I don't want to say a tortured soul, But one of them kind of is a torture soul, and the other one is just like a golden retriever. Like, I loved their story. I loved the progression. I will say check the trigger warnings, though, because there is something that happens at the end that was... It was a lot, okay? Did not expect that. I should have, but I did not. I think the other characters in the books, like, I think the other hockey players are getting their own story, so I will be continuing. I gave Voices... I gave it 4.75 stars. It was almost a perfect read for me. I loved it, okay? I do feel like the ending was wrapped up a little too fast, and so that's why it wasn't a perfect 5-star read for me, but I loved it. I cannot recommend it enough. If you get the chance, I say go pick this up. I think I'm gonna also buy the audiobook so I can listen to the audiobook, because I love audiobooks, and it'll be a reread, so why the heck not? Now, speaking of rereads, let's segue into this series. I decided I wanted to continue with the hockey theme from Voices, so I picked up, and I didn't like it as much. Why am I talking ahead? Oh, excuse me. So sorry. I picked up the Hockey God series by S. Massery. I had read book 1 before like the rest of the series came out. Like, I read it like 2 years ago, I think, or like 2.5 years, a year and a half ago. It was a while ago, okay? So I was like, I need to reread, because I can't just jump into book 2. I knew book 2 was like the best friend's story, but like I didn't remember like all the details. I don't know what happened. I read Brutal Obsession. I gave it 5 stars 2.5 years ago, a year and a half ago. However long it was that I read that, I gave it 5 stars then. I did not really care for Grayson or what's her face. Violet is her name. I gave it 3.75 stars on my reread, which for me, that is like, what happened? Because I loved it when I read it the first time. I don't know. It didn't hit the same. Now I will say, after that, I was like, okay. And then I started book 2 immediately, which was, this is where the chaos kind of happens, because I was reading a lot of weird things at the end of the month. So then book 2 is Devious Obsession, also by S. Massery. This is Steel Story. I did not care for Steel. The only reason this book got 4 stars is because of the female main character, and like, I'm a sucker for a good, like, slightly taboo trope, so if they're, like, step-siblings, and I eat that shit up. Steel kind of irked me, though. Not gonna lie. However, in between reading Brutal Obsession and Devious Obsession, I then read, or I say read, but I listened to the Pretty Liars duet by K.A. Knight. Now, I was nervous to read another K.A. Knight book because I read Den of Vipers, I want to say in like 2020, like summer of 2023, so almost 2 years ago. Maybe it was 2024. I don't know. Or 2022. I don't know. I read it a while ago, and at the time that I read it, I loved it. However, the more time that goes on, the less I like it. Like, when I think back on that, I'm just like, it was nothing special. Like, I read it, and I can tell you what happens, but it's no longer like one of my top favorite books. Like, it is what it is. It is a Why Choose. I love Why Choose. I'll recommend it if you want like an unhinged heroine and that person is being Diesel. But other than that, it is what it is. I have a copy of it on my shelves because I did read it and I liked it, but it's no longer like one of my top books. So hold your pitchforks. Hold your pitchforks. I think K.A. Knight has been redeemed, at least in my opinion. When I picked up the Pretty Liars duet, I saw it on Hoopla. I was like scrolling through the books because I had like four you get like certain number of books every month from Hoopla, and I had like 4 credits left or 4 borrows left. So I picked this duet up. I saw the first one and I was like, oh, the cover kind of spoke to me. Which, let me show you. I can show you the cover. This is book 1's cover. It's like white. I don't know how to make. I'll put it on the screen. Why am I trying to show you? But I saw the cover and I was like, what is you about? So I'm trying to scroll back to my graphic. There we go. And I was like, oh, what is this? And then I saw the Why Choose and I was like, okay, we're gonna try it. So I picked it up. I got 4 chapters in and I was obsessed. I immediately had questions. I immediately wanted to know what was going on. I had a hard time focusing at work. I listened to this while I was working and that was a mistake. I should have just sat and stared at a blank wall and read it because I was so enthralled by this book. I I procrastinated on a few cases more than I should have, but that is what it is. You know, I got my work done. And I ate the series up. I think I read it in like a day or two, 2 days, 2-3 days, something like that. They are very long, I want to say. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put it on screen if I remember. But book 1, I should have known there was going to be a cliffhanger. I used to never read incomplete series. Now this is complete, but I finished book 1 at like the middle of a work shift, and then I immediately had to pause work and go get book 2 because I needed it. I gave book 1 4.75 stars, and then I gave book 2 5 stars. So book 1 is Unstoppable, it's the white cover, and book 2 is the black cover, it's Unbreakable. I do not have a favorite man from the series. I said what I said. Now usually when I read a reverse harem, like Hades, Cass is my favorite. Max and Kate, Steele is my favorite. Boys of Bell Rose, Grayson is my favorite. Like usually when I read a Why Choose, I have a favorite man. Not this one. I liked them all. It's a Why Choose. Why am I choosing? She didn't choose. Why should I? That's all I'm going to say. I do recommend the series if you haven't read it. If you've read the duet, leave a little comment down below so we can chit chat about it, because again, nobody that I know in my like personal circle of friends or personal book friends or like real life friends, nobody has read it. So I've had nobody to talk to about it, and I am trying to shove it into my best friend's face and like, read this book, and she's like, I can't, I have work. So it is what it is. Shannon, sorry, I love you, but you sound like that sometimes. Oh, somebody just walked by. I always forget that my window in the library faces like the street, and so people walk by and I can see them. Oh, there's another person. Okay, anyways, so back on track, kind of, sort of, because then this is, again, more chaos. So after I finished, so really, technically, the way I finished it would have been Brittle Obsession, Unstoppable, Unbreakable, and then Devious Obsession. And then I made a video on Book Talk. I have a list. Let me find it. I have a list of 25 books in 2025 that I want to read. I made a whole video on this. This was the very first Book Talk or BookTube video I ever made. It's on my page. There's also on my Book Talk, talking about how the fact that it was, at that point, the end of April, and I had not read a single book on that list. Now, in my defense, I did move, and I lost said list. So, that was my fault. I take responsibility on that one. It was my fault. With that being said, I found said list, and I was like, oh, I clearly need to read some books on this list, because we're damn near 5 months into the year, and I'm at 0. 0 of 25. Not looking good. So, I made a video. I was in a Why Choose mood based off of my previous books that I had read. Speaking of Boys of Bell Rose, Unstoppable and Unbreakable, I came off of that wanting a Why Choose, and so I was like, you know what? We're gonna start Lily Gold. I made the impulsive decision, and I will say this, Shannon, you were right. I should have read it way fucking sooner. She's been trying to get me to read this for, again, a while, and this was a series that I have special editions for that I have not read yet, and she was like, if you don't read them by the end of 2025, I'm gonna steal them from you. And then she bought them. So we're fine. My books are safe. Also, but they're safe anyways, because I would hurt her if she tried to steal my books. And this is all out of love. It's all joking. She knows this. I know this. Y'all need to know this. But I read Lily Gold. So I read 3 of Lily Gold. I think she only has 4 out right now. The first one that I read, kind of trying to go in order of how I read them, was The 3 Swedish Mountain Men. Now, I will say I did try to, also, that's a mouthful. 3 Swedish Mountain Men. Like, you couldn't have come up with a shorter title. Anyways, it's not the point. I liked this, okay? I was intrigued. I will admit, I tried to read it, I want to say a year and a half ago, and it was just a softie enough for me at the time because I was not in the mood for that book, or this book. I will say this is the book in question. However, I did end up really, really liking it, and I want to say Cole was my favorite. Like I said, when I read a Why Choose, I usually have a favorite. Cole was my favorite. I said what I said. I gave this one 4.25 stars. Not my favorite Lily Gold, because I've read 3 of the 4, but I did really like it. It kept me going. So, after that one, I then proceeded to read Triple Duty Bodyguard, which is the second one that she's written, I think. I think of this one my favorite. I'm trying to, look. I think Glenn was my favorite. He's Scottish. He had an accent. He was the gentle sweetheart of all of them. I really liked him, okay? I said what I said. Again, I have a favorite. This one I gave 4.5 stars. Okay, so we're bumping up the ratings. And why did I say grades? I tried to say grades. I tried to say we're bumping up the grades. I am not a teacher. I do not have the bandwidth for that. Okay, I would lose my ever loving mind on a kid. Because now kids ain't got no decorum. They ain't got no patience. They ain't got no manners. And you teachers are doing the Lord's work out there. Okay. I digress. This is why I don't work with people. I mean, I do work with people, but I work behind a screen where I can make faces and I can judge you. I cannot do that to children. So, I mean, I can, but I shouldn't if I'm a teacher. You know what I'm saying. Anyways, back on track because this is getting chaotic and off topic. Now, this is just a random reverse harem, and this is a military reverse harem because they are former military. I don't know if I would say it's military per se. That's what it says at the top here, because they weren't like doing military things. They weren't in the military. They were just ex-military. So I digress. I don't know if I agree with that technically fully, but anyways, then after that, I finally finished. I don't think this is in order. I think this is out of order. Never mind. Let me retract that statement. I did not finish nothing, okay? After I finished read, I did not finish. What? What am I trying to say? This is chaotic. After I read Triple Duty Bodyguard, I started Nanny for the Neighbors. I got 6 chapters in. I made a whole video on Book Talk about how I was loving this book, and it was going to be my favorite Lily Gold. As of right now, it is my favorite Lily Gold. However, I did not finish that next. So we're going to put her on hold. We're going to put her on pause. When I was in office, I was in office at the end. So because we were in training, we were in like the training schedule at the beginning of the month. And then when we got out of training at work, we got put on like our normal rotation or like our now usual schedule. So we went from like week 4 to week 3. So doing it that way, we were in office twice in April technically. We were in office like the very first full week of the month. And then we were in office the 28th, 29th, the 29th, the 30th. So that Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday was the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I might be crazy. That might not be right. Let me look at a calendar before I open my mouth. Okay, so the 28th, 29th, and 30th was April. So we were technically in office twice in April, and then May, the 1st and the 2nd of May, we were in office. So like that week we were in office, and then we don't go back until like June 2nd, I think. But that Monday or Tuesday, I can't remember which day it is, I started another Tate James and Jim and Eve series because I was looking at my list before I went into office, and I was like, I really should read another book on this list. So I started with the Dark Legacy series. Now, I will say this is not my favorite Tate James. This is probably my least favorite Tate James series I've read, just because it was missing that, like, I don't know how to say it, okay? I loved it, don't get me wrong. I gave them 4 stars for book 1, which is Broken Wings, and then for book 2 and 3, Broken Trust and Broken Legacy, I gave 4.5 stars. So I did like it, but in comparison, when you look at the other series that Tate James has written, this one was my least favorite. But I did also really like it, like obviously, because I gave it 4 and 4.5 stars. I know there's a novella. She's over there, called Dylan or not a novella. There's like another book. It's like a standalone, but it's connected to this series somehow. It's called Dylan. I'm assuming it's Dylan's story of like, also I thought this was going to be a White Shoes and it wasn't a White Shoes. So I feel like that kind of affected my like ranking of the series. But anyways, that's not the point. I did like it. I did enjoy it. I read it pretty quickly. It didn't have that shock factor. Like there were like in all of her other books, there's like a plot twist or a jaw-dropping moment or like a what the fuck moment. And I didn't feel that in this series. So maybe it just felt like that was missing for me personally. And if you've read it and you loved it, I'm sorry. It just is not my favorite. Kind of like when Tate James was talking about on a live that one time that I saw, she was talking about how of her books that she has written, Kit Davenport is not her favorite. And I love that book. So reading is subjective. You're going to love some things. You're going to hate some things. It is what it is. After I finished Dark Legacy, I then finished Nanny for the Neighbors. I was correct. This bitch is my favorite. Lily Gold, this one cemented you as one of my favorite authors. I need you to write more. I know you've had some life things going on. I'm not trying to rush you. I still have a book I need to read. I'm just saying. This was the one. I quite enjoyed this one. Trying to think of the guys. I don't know. I think if I had to pick, I would pick Jack. But also I might pick Sebastian. Like, don't get me wrong, Cyrus was great. Okay. But Sebastian and Jack just very neck and neck for favorite, okay? I liked them both. I liked them all, but like Sebastian and Jack stood out. This book had me cracking up so many times. I loved it. It was great. I gave it 4.75. So not quite a 5-star. I think the next Lily Gold book I read, which is Faking for Benefits, I think that one will be a 5-star. But we will see for sure later. I don't know. We'll see. I'll find out. I'll let y'all know. Hopefully in May's reading wrap up, but probably not. We'll see. Then I finally finished Lightlark. I did get her signed when I went to go see. Oh, my little sticky note is still in there with how to spell my name. When we went to go see her at the end of the month, she did sign my book, so I have it signed. I met her. She is a sweetheart. I really liked this. Okay, it took me a while to read it because I was reading so many different things. Like, this is so different than anything I was reading in March and April. And so it took me a while to get into it, but once I got into it, I was hooked. Like, it may have taken me a month and a half to read this book, but I've almost read all of Nightbane in like a week. So it really will depend on like my mood reading, honestly, is what it is. My mood readerness was mood reading way too hard. So I finished Lightlark. I gave it 4 stars. I pretty sure I'm going to give Nightbane like 4.5, but we'll see. For the plot twist at the end, I was jaw on the floor. Okay. My jaw just open. And that's, I do have one more book. I almost said that's all I read. I do have one more book. It's book 3. We have Secret Obsession. So this is book 3 in the Hockey God series by S. Mastery. So the first one was Brutal Obsession. The second one was Devious Obsession. And this one is Secret Obsession. This was my favorite so far. Now, I will say, I think the beginning was a little fucked up. Granted, that was a bet from the first book, so it is what it is. Basically, he's obsessed with his brother, sort of, kind of, would be, if you want to call it, ex, and his brother is his twin. Put an interesting twist into the whole book throughout the series, throughout the book. He's been obsessed with her for a while, and she was obsessed with his brother. So, I mean, I did really like this book. This one I gave 4 where is it? It says 4.25, but honestly, I think that should say 4.5. I did really like this book. And now that we are in May, I've started book 4, which is Twisted Obsession. I think that's going to be my favorite book so far. Now that is all I've read. That was a total of, let's see, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Yeah, 32 books that I read. Now I did, if you watched my video for my numbers, or on Book Talk, I did a video of like going through my TBR. So I went through every single book that came off of my TBR or was added to my TBR in the month of April. It was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of chaos in that video. It is posted on my TikTok if you want to see it. However, at the end of the video, I included a set of books. I'm kind of sad that it didn't work out. And what I mean by that is I DNF'd 2 of the 3, and I didn't even bother with the third, because if I DNF'd the first 2, I have a feeling I wasn't going to like the third one too. And that is I don't know what this is called. I don't know if it has like a series name, but like the Brown Sisters by Talia Hibbert. I cannot say her name for some reason. So I got like 155 pages. I borrowed the Hoopla audiobooks. I got like 150, when I looked in the book, it was like 155 pages into book 1, and I was not vibing with this at all. It was not badly written. It could have been the narrator. I don't know what it was about this book. I was just not having a good time. So I was like, I made the tough decision to DNF. And then somebody was like, oh, the third one's my favorite on TikTok. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to try the second one. If I don't like the second one, that's it. Final straw. Because I'm working on DNFing, but I also, when they're interconnected and they don't have to be read in order, it's like, well, it doesn't hurt to try. So then I read, is there something in there? Oh no, I thought there was like a bookmark or something. Then I got maybe 5-6 chapters into Take a Hint, Danny Brown, and I did not like it. So I also DNF'd, which means poor little book 3, Act Your Age, Eve Brown, did not even get attempted to be read. But these 3 came off of the TBR. I did not finish them, so they're not being counted as read. But they came off of my TBR, and they will eventually be unhauled as well. Now when I do my unhauling, like later on, probably towards the end of the year, are you guys wanting to see that, or do you want me to just make the TikTok and go on about my day? Usually when I unhaul, I give books to friends, and then anything that don't give to a friend, I end up just selling at like half price books and using my half price books money for store credit, essentially, is what that turns out to be, because I always buy books at half price books, and so whatever money I make from the books I sell, I always turn around and spend. I know that's not how you're supposed to do it, but it's what I've always done. But that is my April reading wrap up. Now I have to go put all of these books away. I will say, one thing I've learned about making videos on the internet for talking about books, the worst part about making videos with said books is having to put them all away. But it's fine. My husband's about to get home. This will probably not actually be posted until like Monday or Tuesday. We will see, because I think he's got schoolwork. He's studying for his finals because he's still in school. So he is studying for his finals, which means he's going to need the computer, so I'm not going to have time to sit down and edit while he is home. So this probably will not get posted till like Tuesday. But when it's posted, it will be before next weekend. It will be before the, mark my words, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna hold myself accountable. I'm gonna set a reminder on my phone right now. It will be posted before the 17th, and it will be posted before the 16th of May. That is in 6 days. That is less than a week. It will be edited, posted, and on YouTube before the 16th. I'm making that like my mission. So, well, that's what I'm doing this week. I'm gonna focus on this video. I'm gonna edit it after work, not Monday and Wednesday, because after work he is home. I get off at like 2:30 now, and he's usually home by like 1:30, 1 o'clock. So just depending on whenever he gets done at the church. So he will be sitting with his computer, which his computer is the one we use to edit, because my work computer, I can't do anything except work on it. So this will get edited sometime soon, in the next couple of days, probably honestly Tuesday, because he's on his way home. He's about to be studying for his finals, so I'm not gonna be able to go edit it now, but I'm gonna go put these all away. Oh, see, I'm scatterbrained. Okay, I will tell you guys, I am planning to do like a full in-depth bookshelf tour. I know I haven't finished my bookshelf organizational videos. I am working on editing them. Video 1 is edited. I know that sounds really bad and it sounds really long. Video 1 is completely edited. So, like I said, it's probably going to be 2 or 3 parts. Video 1 is completely edited. Yay! After that, I'm just gonna post all of those at once. So I know you guys are still waiting. I appreciate your patience. Sorry it's taking me so long. But it was a lot of content. I did cut some things out. I did speed some things up in that first video. So I think I took like 2.5 hours of footage and I made it into like an hour and a half. Lots of maneuvering things around. I might make it 2 full hours and just call it a day, but I don't know. It is an hour and a half at the moment, and I feel like that is long enough. But I don't know. Y'all seem to really like the longer videos. They do pretty well from my experience on here, so we will just see what I end up doing with that. I am gonna post them all at once, so yeah. We'll see when those are posted. Sorry it's taking so long, but I'm gonna go put these away. I'm gonna put my camera back on the charger because it looks like it's about to die soon. And I'm probably gonna go sit and read until my husband gets home, or maybe I'll watch TV. I don't know. I don't really watch TV that much anymore. I don't know. You guys have a great rest of your week. I almost had a great rest of your Saturday, but you're not gonna see this today. So y'all have a great rest of your week, a great rest of your month, and a great rest of your year. Your words are hard sometimes. A great rest of your year whenever you watch this. For the mothers that are out there and alive. That sounds really morbid, and I'm so sorry. If you watch the beginning of the video, you understand. Anyways, happy Mother's Day, or I guess happy belated Mother's Day to all of the mothers. I hope everybody has a great day. Get celebrated. Be celebrated. However, whatever you do for Mother's Day, we are taking Trevor's mom to lunch, so I am excited for that. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also probably gonna come home and be a potato for the rest of the day after lunch. I'm not going to church. I am literally just going to lunch. I told Trevor that I was like, that is all I can mentally handle on Mother's Day. I'm just going to lunch, and then the rest of the day I just want to be, I want a bed rot, essentially. I want a couch rot, I want a bed rot, I want to just sit and read for the rest of the day. And he was like, we can do that. You can read and I can study. And I was like, match made in heaven. So that's my tomorrow plans, but you guys will see this after Mother's Day, so happy belated Mother's Day to all of the mothers, or if you are a mother, happy belated Mother's Day to you. I'm gonna go put these away. I'm gonna go put my camera on the charger, and I'm gonna go read, because my brain is still feeling kind of just meh. So you guys have a great day and a great night, a great whatever. Bye!